Hi, this is Nathan Markley, and this is the Nathan Markley Show podcast. This show originally aired on WNRI 1380 AM and 99.9 FM on Friday, July 10th, 2026. This is Season 3, Episode 17. Enjoy!
Yeah! Friday nights! WNRI! Winding down slow, radio on, like he's riding shotgun all night long. Me and Nathan, that same old voice, stories rolling, easy choice. I'm staying in for the Nathan Markley Show every Friday night on my radio. From WNRI, yeah, the signal rolls through the walls, down to my soul. I'm staying in for the Nathan Markley Show. Let the whole town drive, I'll let 'em go. I'll be right here where the stories flow. Tuned in time to the Nathan Markley Show.
Well, hello everyone. How are you this Friday evening? Nathan Markley here. You're listening to the Nathan Markley Show on WNRI 1380 AM and 99.9 FM in Woonsocket. Tonight we've got a great show for you lined up. And also, of course, my dad Glenn joining me for Ask a Mechanic. Around 6:25-ish, your automotive questions answered. You can submit your questions on nathanmarkley.net/askamechanic, or you can call in at 401-766-1380, 401-769-0600, or toll free at 1-800-949-WNRI. That is 401-766-1380, 401-769-0600, or toll free at 1-800-949-9674. You can also stream us live on WNRI.com or on TuneIn Radio. Show notes, links, and more always free on my website over at nathanmarkley.net/podcast. No sign up ever. Hello, Dad.
Hi, Nathan. How you doing?
Doing good. It's been a good week, I think. Hot week too.
Oh, yeah, hot week. We just had some rain to cool us off a little bit.
Yes, it started raining today as we drive into the studio. Yeah. Did you have a good 4th of July weekend?
Yes. We went away on vacation, my wife and I, and we had a good time.
Cool. Awesome. So today I want to talk a little bit about the EU. The EU just told Facebook and Instagram that the apps themselves, the endless scroll, the autoplay, the notifications are designed to be addictive. And in Europe, that may now be illegal. And all about that, and also a few other things with social media. I think it's a very interesting story, especially now. It's kind of in the recent years too, because I think a lot of countries have been watching this and kind of planning maybe a social media ban for kids and teenagers. So today, after a 2-year investigation, the EU issued findings that Facebook and Instagram violate European law, the Digital Services Act. And it's not about bad posts, it's about design of apps themselves. As you know, in Facebook and Instagram, you have infinite scroll. You can just scroll infinitely. Autoplay, autoplay videos, which I turned off when I downloaded the app, because by default, those videos, that autoplay videos are set to default. Push notifications and the recommendation of algorithms, all that. They found all this stuff in the EU words, these features shift the brain into autopilot mode and drive compulsive use, especially for kids, which is very interesting. And I sort of agree with them that these social media apps is not just Facebook and Instagram, it's TikTok, Snapchat, X, and Twitter. Twitter is X now. Even YouTube can be addictive. They're built by that, and there's a lot of. I've seen studies like research come out, and people that used to work at these companies say like that was designed to be addictive, right? The EU says Meta fixes don't work. Like they have earlier this year, I think, and also late last year, 2025, Meta on the Instagram app implemented what's called parental controls in teen accounts, so parents can create these accounts and set up screen times, and also lock the account to only certain hours they can use, or how long they can actually use the apps. But the EU is saying that they're too complicated and for parents to actually use. And of course, Meta disagrees and points to the teen count features, and it gets a chance respond before any final ruling.
So let me ask a question.
Yeah.
The EU says it's illegal.
Yeah, so they did a finding.
What law do they cite?
So it was the Digital Service Act. So 2 years ago, they did find investigation, and their findings say that what's illegal is the addiction part. Like how they design the apps, how they design the sites to be addictive, right? Even the autoplay videos, infant scrolling, and also the push notifications too.
So there's a law that says it can't be a certain level of addiction. I mean,
I think
sounds to me like it's working too good.
The Digital Service Act says, according to this, that it's it goes how Meta designed Facebook and Meta goes against that act.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's too. It's too addictive.
Yeah, so I wonder how Meta's going to respond to that, and maybe detail the law as it's written now, and prove that it's not violating that description of it's written into the law now.
I mean, if you think back, when was this? Back in the 70s and 80s, we kind of regulated tobacco and slot machines, right? By going after the product mechanics and not just the ads. And they're kind of using the same playbook for social media.
Okay.
Now, that just arrived.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. What's also interesting is the EU. In April, the EU found Meta fails to keep under 13-year-olds off the apps. Roughly 1 in 10 EU kids under 13 use Facebook and Instagram anyway. Snapchat is under the EU investigation for the same thing too. Because even I think in this country, in the United States, there's a law that if you're under 13, you need parent consent to use the internet. In the EU, I think you can't, if under 13, you can't have the social media.
Well, I mean, there's other things that are addictive. Sugar is addictive. No one's going after that industry to say it's illegal.
Yeah, true.
Interesting.
True. However, there are bans going into effect very soon. So in December 2025, Australia has an under 16 ban took effect, which is the world's first ban. And I believe that goes into effect. Oh, that's already in effect. Sorry. So if you're under 16, you can't go on social media. At 16 and older. And then June 2026, France National Assembly approved a ban bill that platforms must turn away under 15-year-olds, 15 and under, and suspend their accounts. It's still being reconciled with the Senate, so it's not a final law yet. But it looks like it may be going to law. France is hoping that law be enforced, the ban around September. But that's still the France Senate still has to pass that. And then April 2026, EU's forced meta fining, like I mentioned, family keep under 13-year-olds off Facebook, Instagram. May 2026, the EU chief of tech blackwise social media delay proposal could come this summer. So I think they want to kind of similar, instead of having a ban on the age, they want to delay the social media users for under 16 or 15, just like the other countries.
But how do you think they'll police that? How can they stop that?
So that's the question, and you have to do some kind of age verification. And I was reading, where was that?
Right now they have those things in different, like YouTube has something like that, and you just have to answer a question.
You just have to answer a question, and that's
create a profile.
You have to but you can fake that information. You can just bypass that. So what the EU wants to do and other countries wants to do has some kind of system where you like upload an ID or something saying that you're this age.
Wow.
Which kind of gets into policing the internet, the open internet, where a lot of people don't like that, and I sort of agree with that. And that's gonna be harder to police and track if you have to like submit something. You have to store the information and make sure it's secure. Yeah, it's a interesting thing.
Do you think the EU has a alternative motive to do this? Maybe they want to get more marketing information on these people that they could sell to companies?
No,
to find out someone's age if they did that, like you suggested?
I think they want to kind of control, because there's a lot of reports out there that how social media and internet affects one's physical and mental health. And there's a lot of studies of how that it's addictive, just like tobacco and gambling and alcohol is addictive, and it affects one's health, right? And that's what they're trying to sell. They're trying to police that and control it the same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good information. I mean, they're opening up not a can of worms, but a new investigative study into human nature and how people respond. I mean, think of how many phones they sell and tablets they sell and computers they sell. Everyone wants the latest equipment so they can go on the internet and get social media.
Yep.
Think of all the advertisers that advertise on social media that may lose money.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why it's addictive too, because of advertisers. And social media was built to be addictive, so these companies can make money, so they sell advertisers. So you're the product when you use them,
right?
Right. The Facebook's not the product, so I think that's also where they want to.
Well, how about a person that makes money through social media? Like, I don't know if people get paid for Instagram accounts, or I know they can make money on YouTube accounts, but those people, they're hurting the public if they
potentially. I mean, you don't
income because their audience is limited.
Yeah. I mean, the question also is if, like, one of the questions I've read and I kind of asked too is like, okay, this is great, but what about like protecting the kids? But what about adults too after 16? Like, if you're saying social media is addictive, why are you only targeting the younger under 16 and under and not above? Because like you can still be addicted. Like adults can get addictive to stuff too. And as the ad question, yeah, you can lose an audience, but I would question like, what kind of content, if you're marketing to kids, what kind of content you're making.
I understand protecting children. I understand that.
Um,
I'm just wondering, like, maybe they should go after the content or the manufacturers or the influencers that have certain content that they
I
think
don't
is harmful to children, not prevent the children from seeing that content or getting access to it.
Yeah.
Good question. Good dialogue.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, that's
I
good.
wonder if any of our
Maybe.
callers or our listeners want to call in on this and give us their opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, give us a call at 401-766-1380, 769-0600, or 1-800-949-9674. And do you think, question, do you think influencer skull is too addictive for kids? Why is it fine for the rest of us? Right? Question, what do you think about what the EU findings? Also, if they're comparing social media to the gambling casinos, do we fix the slot machine or just ban kids from the casino? And another question, another question I have for the listeners, would you want to provide these companies like Facebook or Meta or YouTube, which is owned by Google, or you want to provide X or Snapchat, and your ID to create a social media account, to verify your age too?
So do you think the EU will allow those platforms
That's what they wrote.
and put the onus on them to create the verification? That's my point. Maybe they're just trying to get more
they have
marketing
to.
data on these people,
Uh,
and then target the. So let's say they use that to their advantage. So if they're going to say, well, if you're under 16 and you're going to let us know, and you can't get access to certain information
mm,
or content,
mhm,
but maybe they're going to start sending more appropriate content they think is appropriate for people at 16 and under, and just flood them and bombard them with more options of the approved content.
mm,
You follow what I'm saying? It could just make it just to change their focus from one thing to another, and that child still becomes addictive to what they're allowed to see. The addiction may not come from what you're allowed to see. It's what you want to see.
well, no, if you provide your ID and to verify that you're an age and you're under 16, you won't be able to allow to create an account.
I thought it was just certain content.
No. So you have to
wow.
provide your ID to open up an account to use these platforms. So if you're under a certain age, you have to verify you're a certain age to even view that content.
But let's say I was 12, and a parent allow a 12-year-old to complete the online form and verification process. Can they still access those platforms?
Right now they can.
But after this?
But if they provide some kind of age verification, according to this, no. And in France,
more severe than I thought.
In France, you can't even use, if you're 12, you can't. No, sorry, not France. Australia. In Australia, you can't even use social media if you're 12.
Okay.
You're banned. And France is doing the same thing, and the EU eventually coming up to it, so you won't be able to use it. So it's kind of like the tobacco. You can't buy cigarettes going to the store, so you have to ID if you're not 18. You can't buy it.
Okay, so let's say I want to start a new company. It's not called social media. It's called Glenn's children videos.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, appropriate videos, maybe cartoons, whatever, appropriate content. Maybe they'll just become addicted to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, so right now they're going after Meta, Facebook and Instagram, right? But, there's other platforms out there that could be considered social media, like any news apps, right? Or blogging.
Right.
YouTube is social media. LinkedIn, even a game, like internet games, like is that considered social media? Because you can talk online to people, like Xbox Live or PlayStation.
That's a good. Good
So
point.
does that end as well? Will
Well,
this
doesn't
ban?
YouTube have a child
They do, but it's not.
child format?
There's still stuff gets through
No.
the kids app.
Sounds like a serious issue.
Mm.
I'm sure
Yeah,
if
it's
Meta
the
has to adjust for the EU, or that this goes through the
yes,
EU,
and if
the
they
United States will look at it.
they don't
Propose it.
whatever they don't comply, they can pay. I think it's a 6% of global revenue. And I think the max fine is that equals like $12 billion. Yeah, and 23 out of 27 EU countries already have this age limit on social media with 16 a minimum age, which I mean, 16 is not bad. I kind of agree with keeping the age limit at 16 above because at 16 years old, you kind of know. Well, the average 16-year-old probably should know right from wrong and what they should look at and what they shouldn't look at, what they should kind of have time limits there.
But is it a content issue or, like you said, an addiction issue? How do they clarify? It's both?
They qualify as addiction, but I think it's both.
They don't want them have access to inappropriate things for their age.
But also it's addiction. Like they're always on it, and it causes physical and mental health concerns.
Okay.
Just like a regular addiction. Yeah, I mean it's very interesting, and I'm gonna keep keep looking at this information, and I'll keep everyone posted. But yeah, this has been going on since at least for a while now. But December 2025, when Australia was the first one to put a social media ban for under 16-year-olds in effect. And I know we do know that social media is addictive too. But yeah. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we do Ask a Mechanic. Unless anyone wants to call in and talk more about social media, I'll be more than happy to do that. The Nathan Markley Show, WNRI.
If you or anyone that you know would like to buy or sell a property, Lydia Smith, a realtor with the Century 21 Stachurski agency, would like to chat with you. Lydia has over 15 years of experience in the real estate profession and is well known for her professionalism. She has sold many properties over the years as a professional realtor and is well respected due to her experience in and knowledge of the Northern Rhode Island real estate market. You will be pleased by her quick response, her attention to detail, and her remarkably high level of integrity. Having purchased 2 homes and selling another myself, I can appreciate Lydia's knowledge, success, and professionalism as a trusted realtor. You can reach Lydia by calling her at 401-808-0430. Lydia promises a quick response to your call. Again, call Lydia Smith, professional realtor, at 401-808-0430 for your property buying or selling needs.
Listening to the Nathan Markley Show on WNRI 1380 AM and 99.9 FM, or online at WNRI.com or TuneIn Radio. 401-766-1380, 401-769-0600, or 1-800-949-9674 is the phone number to call. So, Dad, what do you have for us today for Ask a Mechanic?
Well, I have a few different things. Excuse me. One is I'm going to, invite listeners to call in. So if you could repeat the numbers, Nathan, I'd appreciate that.
Yes, it's 401-766-1380, 401-769-0600, or 1-800-949-9674.
Okay, and then I have, I'll open it up with a trivia question, followed by 2 recalls I'd like to talk briefly about, just to keep everybody that listens informed. And then I'm going to follow it up with some safety. Vehicle. I'm going to talk about one specific vehicle that was designed with a lot of safety in mind. And this vehicle was designed in the 1940s, late 1940s. I hope everybody who listens finds this interesting. Again, feel free to call in and ask me any type of question, automotive related. I'll be glad to answer that for you. Or if you want to share any thoughts on what we discuss. So the the trivia question for today, and if you know the answer, feel free to call in, is 2 parts. One, I'm going to ask you, what is the model of the vehicle? The make, it was General Motors products, but I want you to tell me the model of the vehicle and the name or the nickname for this vehicle. And this vehicle was part of a television show in the I'll say the early to mid 80s, 1980s, from 82 to 86. And the vehicle was known to have a voice. It had some lights that would flash across the front of it. And when I say it had a voice, it could actually talk to the driver. The driver was a famous actor. And the vehicle could drive itself. It could move itself from one point to the next. So again, call in if you know what I'm talking about or you have an idea, and let me know the model of the vehicle, not the make. It's a General Motors product. And if you know the make, that's even better, but the actual model. For an example, was it a Saturn Vue, or was it a Chevrolet Impala? So give me the make and the model and the nickname that this vehicle had. So think hard. I'm sure someone will probably Google that and figure that out. But that's the trivia question for today.
It's the point of a trivia question if you Google it.
Well, how can I stop that?
That's true.
If we have age restrictions, no one over 16 can go into Google.
We don't have age restrictions right now.
I know that. I'm just teasing.
Well, actually,
I can't stop that. But someone may know, and just be honest. If you had to look it up, let us know if you knew it or remembered it, and just let us know also, please. So just two quick recalls of note, and I'll explain why I chose these two to talk about. Ford Motor Company has recalled 2013 to 2021 model. Well, actually, many models: the Ford Escape, the C-Max, the Fusion, very popular vehicle, the Ford Fusion, the Transit Connect, and the Ford Edge. And the recall was announced and in effect because of a safety issue where when the driver of the vehicle shifted the vehicle into park, even though the shifter went into and locked into park position, the transmission, the parking pawl, the little pawl and selector that locks the output shaft from rotating, and the output shaft is connected to the wheels, so that's what actually locks it from moving, that may not engage. And the reason it wouldn't engage is because the bushing, which is like a hard plastic, I'm sure it was made up of, it's not just strictly plastic, it's probably a blend of materials, maybe a hard phenolic type of material. That bushing, which would connect the end of the shift cable to the transmission selector shaft lever, under the, it was under the hood, obviously, but external to the transmission, that would deteriorate over time due to environmental, like, hot and cold and maybe some corrosion around the bushing on the metal of the stud that it was on. And that bushing could crack or break apart or fall apart. And even though the shifter was shifted to park, again, the cable would move, but it wouldn't move the lever for the transmission and put it in park. So if you don't have the transmission in park, it can roll away. More pronounced if it's on an incline, either uphill or downhill. Okay? Now, if the engine was running and the shifter was in park, but the end of that shift cable didn't engage park in the transmission, now the engine may still be in reverse or drive and could be powered and get away from your unexpected movement. So this affected 740,000 vehicles from 2013 models to 2021. And the fix was to replace the bushing with a more durable type material. And the technician who performed the recall will not only replace that bushing with a new type, but will also put a cover over that bushing so that it's less susceptible to the environmental concerns like rain and rust and heat and cold. So they're trying to do a little extra to protect that. And I thought that was interesting because I had a Ford Fusion that had that same issue. One day I thought I had shifted it to park. It was in the driveway. And sure enough, I felt the vehicle rolling back a little bit, got out under the hood, and this was before the recall was issued, and I saw the problem. So it was fixed because the vehicle happened to be under warranty anyways, even though the recall hadn't been issued yet.
Oh, yeah, that was years ago you had that car.
Yeah, that was years ago, but so maybe they had the same issue with that one vehicle, but I find it interesting that the Fusion's still involved in this recall. So I guess they're going back and trying to get all the vehicles that didn't have that bushing replaced.
It is Ford. I mean, Ford is known for fix off and repair daily.
Fix or repair daily, yeah, that's one of them. I have a lot of those. I'm going to have a whole show on all the different acronyms that I've heard or developed for different Ford, the spelling of different vehicles. I like the one first on race day.
First on
race day, as opposed to fix or repair daily.
Yeah.
So if you had an issue like that with any of your vehicles, or you have a Ford, one of the ones I mentioned, please give me a call.
Yeah. You want to take a call in now?
Sure.
Hello, call you live on the air.
Yes, at one time, didn't Pontiac LeMans have a real problem with parking, and then it would just roll?
I'm not aware of that. What year are you thinking or talking about?
Oh, God. All right. It would be in like late 50s.
The 50s?
Yeah, late 50s.
Oh, okay.
I think it was LeMans. It was small, not really small, but I can remember my sister parking. We were at Rocky Point or something, and the car was in park, and it started rolling forward. And good thing she realized it quickly and jammed on the brakes. But there was a recall on that Pontiac at one time.
Oh, I'll have to investigate that. I wasn't aware of that one. I was born in the early 60s, so I haven't heard about that one yet. You say the 50s?
Yep.
Oh, very interesting. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
I did work for Pontiac recently, when I say recently, in the 1990s as a technician, and they brought back that Le Mans model name for Pontiac, but it was a joint venture with a Korean company, and that Korean company, those vehicles did have a lot of problems. I was very busy fixing those vehicles. But thanks for the call. I'll look into that and learn more about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
So that was a good call.
That was, I didn't know about that. I mean, I guess that'd be a common thing of would that be like a wear and tear issue?
Right. It could be wear and tear. Sometimes the shift cable has an adjustment, and if it's not adjusted properly, it doesn't engage completely. So that could be maybe the bolt or nut that holds that adjustment in place could have loosened up over time, and wear and tear, like you said, on the cable or even the connection. I do know from working on, I say the earliest vehicles I worked on regularly were 1970s vehicles, and they had a metal clip that would hold the shift cable onto that selector shaft. And again, Ford had that, now has a plastic bushing type clip.
We'll have to look into the Pontiac one, and we'll report back next week.
Oh, yeah. She definitely piqued my interest. I'll be looking into that. And this other one I want to talk about is from Honda Motor Company. And the Honda Motor Company is recalling 325,000 models. I'm sorry, 325,000 vehicles that may be affected by this issue. 2018 to 2020 Honda Odyssey. And the problem is that the rear view camera can have water intrusion into the housing that holds the camera. And that water intrusion will corrode the printed circuit board that processes the signal and sends it down to the module that processes it and displays the signal on your monitor or your dashboard. And what they found was that the housing that the camera is in could be cracked, or the camera didn't fit the hole properly because the hole wasn't manufactured to the proper size or specification. So they've changed the supplier of that assembly, and they'll be replacing those cameras and the housing. And then, of course, the circuit board, because it's all kind of one unit.
Interesting.
So that was the last the 2 recalls. And then I'd like to move on to.
Well, we have another caller if you
Great.
want to take
Very
that.
good.
Hello, caller. You're live on the air.
Hey, it's Mike from Cranston. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good.
What's going
So
on?
the thing about the parking,
Yep.
in the late early '80s, Ford had a similar thing where you would put it in park or you think it was in park, and there was too much flex in the linkage, and it wouldn't lock into the dog, or the pour on the transmission
Excuse me.
wouldn't lock, and they were rolling all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And their initial fix was to send everybody something that would stick on their visor.
To remind them?
So you'd be reminded of putting the parking brake on if you were on a hill or something. And yeah, that's a weird one.
That's a weird one, man.
Yeah, I mean, to find, put your car in park and it's across the street and your neighbor's through his garage door or something,
Not only that,
yeah.
you're halfway out the door and it starts rolling back, and you're trying to keep up with it and shuffling one leg on the ground. And
I remember reading 4 or 5 years ago the Star Trek, the latest Star Trek movies. The guy that played the Czechoslovakian guy on engineering.
Sulu.
His name escapes me at the minute, but he was a good actor, and they were all younger, playing younger roles that the original Star Trek was. And he was in his mansion in Beverly Hills, and he parked his vehicle. He thought he threw it in park, and it didn't go into park, and it actually crushed him against his gated wall, his gate that he had.
Wow.
They didn't find him for about 6 or 8 hours, pending against the gate. And every time he exhaled, it was closing in. He actually suffocated from it.
Oh, Chekhov. He couldn't.
Yeah, that's
expand his lungs. I understand. Well, that's worst case, obviously. Not to make light of it, but that's worst case. Yeah, these are safety issues.
And a weird one. When I first got in this trade, swapping parts as we did, I put a different motor, a much bigger motor, in one of those flat nose Econoline vans that had 3-speed on the column, and I thought I could just hook an automatic transmission to that lever that was on the column, and I pulled into a milk store, and I was letting it run, and I came out like 45 seconds later, and my van wasn't there. And the mailman was coming in the door, and he says, "Are you looking for that van?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "It just took off with nobody in it around the corner."
Wow.
And I went running out to the street. It had went right out into the intersection. It pulled a U-turn. It jumped over the curb, and it was about a foot or two from going through somebody's front store. And the only thing that stopped it, the rear axle jumped over the curb, but the thing that stopped it, I had too much weight in the front, and it wouldn't jump over the rear wheels. Kind of chalked itself against the curb.
I see.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's another dangerous one. So, Mike, could I ask you, what'd you stop in the store for? What'd you buy?
I think it was probably a soda or something stupid. Yeah, it was like a little milk store.
Not bad. 45 seconds for a transaction. That's great. Today, it's all the questions they ask you at the register, and having to use a debit card.
Oh, yeah.
Takes forever.
Yeah.
Just being funny.
And back to the other thing that you were talking about with the internet.
Yes.
I'm an older guy, and I'm only 5 years into my smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, there are times when that thing gets a hold of me, and the time just flies, even though I have things to do.
Right.
And it's very addictive. And I don't know what the answer is to it, but I know that China was cracking down, and they wouldn't let people wouldn't play video games, I think, until 9 o'clock on Friday or something.
Oh.
They were going to shut the internet down. And then I watched a video of what plays on TikTok here. Some of the nonsense that has no nutritional value to it.
Yeah.
Over there, it's all about how to do your homework, how to do something constructive. It's a totally different thing.
Wow. That's
And I don't know if that says what that says about anything, but I just it's interesting. There was a radio guy that used to say that it won't work unless you got self-discipline. And that's the big thing. How do you know,
right.
Yeah.
how do you stop somebody from that? I mean, I go to places and the workers are hiding behind boxes. They know where the camera angles are, and
Right.
they're on that phone every time they get a second. So
Right, because that's what I was trying to convey to Nathan earlier with my questions was, yeah, addiction, it's something that you're addicted to is an issue, but it's still an interest you have. So no matter, how do you have to limit the time you spend on something, because if you try to change what you're interested in, you may end up becoming addicted to the new interest. Follow me what I'm saying?
Right.
If you change someone's interest or what they can get to or have access to,
yeah.
it may end up, the new thing I can get to, I really like this. I'm learning a lot about it.
I think
And it's still an addiction.
with this issue is the EU is saying that the apps are designed to be addictive, so they want them to change the design too, and not make it so it's
Well, that'd be
not too addictive, so not that many
boring.
people exactly, but you won't be addictive. The reason why you're on it so much is addictive because it was built and designed to be addictive, so
So
people
it's-
stay on longer, so they get more ads and more revenue. So they want them to change the design how they use it.
And so you're saying it does something to their mind
Yeah.
that makes them entranced.
Yep.
But I understand that and I agree. But my point is, let's say it's something that's boring to you, but I'm interested in the subject. But to you, Nathan, it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
I may spend too much time on it because it's interesting to me,
True.
even though it's not designed or programmed or presented in a format that's going to affect my mind and make me want to stay on it. It's just something I'm interested in.
Yeah, and what the EU was saying about the autoplay, the auto start, it's turned on by default. So as soon as you open up the app, videos stop playing automatically, and that's designed to pull you in quickly.
Mm.
And if by having that off, the autoplay off, you can't.
I see.
You won't be able to immediately. So you have to push the play button too.
So sounds could do that too. Music they put
Sounds,
behind it.
color, lights. Think of a
Lights.
casino.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Think of a slot machine.
Yeah. I understand.
Mm.
Hey, well, thanks for calling, Mike.
Yeah,
I
I think
appreciate it. Oh,
All
you got
right,
more?
guys.
You have more?
Have a good one.
I'm not trying to cut you
I'm
off.
good.
If you have more, go ahead.
No, I was just going to finish by saying I think that the real product on the with Facebook and YouTube and all of that is actually us. Anytime
Yes.
something's relatively free, we end up becoming the product.
Exactly right.
Our interest and our information being sold in so many different ways. It's
not
it's
just
frightening sometimes.
that too, being sold, and we become the product, and those platforms are selling us and our time and our interest, but it's just also the amount of it that's available. It's just everywhere. And think of the productivity that is lost by businesses when the employees are on the phones and addicted to whatever they're watching.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. It's a big problem.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
Good hearing from you, Mike.
Have
Thank
a good
you.
weekend.
Thank you.
Good program as always. Take care.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
all
Yeah.
right.
Mike had some good points there. That's
Yeah.
he's right on target with that.
Yeah,
His
even
observations.
the smartphones too are addictive too. We're gonna take a quick ad break. I'm gonna come back. We can finish
Sure.
up the automotive. The Nathan Markley Show, WNRI.
Accidents happen, but choosing the right repair shop makes all the difference. For over 45 years, Hillview Auto Body in Johnston has been the name Rhode Islanders trust. Established in 1980, a Gold Class certified and Class A body shop, we've invested in the highest level of training and technology to ensure your vehicle is repaired to the strictest industry standards, and we've built our reputation on quality craftsmanship, honest service, and getting the job done right the first time. From minor dents to major collision repairs, our expert technicians handle it all. We handle most of the claim process to make the repair process smooth and stress-free from start to finish. At Hillview Auto Body, your car isn't just another job, it's treated like our own. So when life throws you a bump in the road, trust the team that's been fixing them for decades. Hillview Auto Body, Johnston, Rhode Island. Quality you can see, service you can trust.
You're listening to the Nathan Markley Show on WNRI, 1380 AM and 99.9 FM, or online at WNRI.com or TuneIn Radio. 401-766-1480 or 401-769-0600 or 1-800-949-9674 is the phone number to call.
So, Nathan, remind me, no one's called in yet with that trivia question answer.
No,
If
not
you're
yet.
listening, feel free to call in.
Yes.
If no one gets it, I guess I'll tell them at the end of the show, right?
Yeah. Yep. We can tell like the last 5 minutes. We'll come down.
Sure.
What is the trivia question again?
It's call in and tell us the make and model name of this vehicle that was in a movie that could talk. And the vehicle had red lights that would flash across the front of it. And also tell us the name of that vehicle. And again, this show was from the early 80s, 82 to 86, I believe it ran. It was a TV show. It was on for 4 years. So if you know the answer to those questions, the make and model of that vehicle, and I'm going to throw in a bonus question, tell us the color that the vehicle was on the show. But more importantly, what was the name? What was the nickname for that vehicle? So I'm not sure when I watched this movie, but in 1988, a movie came out about a vehicle that was produced in 1948. And the name of that vehicle is called the Tucker 48. Very interesting history about the designer, the types of prototypes they had, this vehicle itself. But what caught my eye was the safety features that Preston Tucker, the person who thought of making this vehicle, designed into his vehicle. Only 50 were sold. And what happened was, I'm not going to get into details of what jammed them up or stopped the production, because that's just too lengthy. It's good reading. And if you want to know what happened, the Securities and Exchange Commission and the U.S. Attorney felt that he had falsified his advertising and he made too many promises he couldn't keep to potential investors and buyers of this vehicle. But there are 50 examples that were produced, in addition to about 7 prototypes. And I actually saw one of these vehicles. So I saw this movie, maybe it was 2 or 3 years old when I saw this movie. I was fascinated by this vehicle. And I actually got to see one of these vehicles, one of the 50. It was in a museum in Detroit. I think it's called the Volo, V-O-L-O Museum, Auto Museum. I was there for work, in that area for work one week, and I had some free time on the day I arrived. So I stopped in at that museum to see their vehicles, and I was surprised that they had one there. But I want to talk about the safety features designed in. That's the gist of this information, not the whole story, because it's a very interesting story. There's actually, the movie's called Tucker, the Man in His Dream. So Tucker, the Man in His Dream was 1988, I'm sorry. And there's a book that I know of, Steve Letho. He's an author, Steve, Letho, Steve Letho. He wrote a book on this vehicle. But some of the things that Mr. Tucker thought about and had in this vehicle were very forward thinking. Some people say the vehicle came out before its time. So a pop-out windshield. Of course, it's self-explanatory. The windshield was designed to pop out. You got a call?
Yeah, we got a couple of things what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess let's say the windshield was designed to pop out during a crash to prevent passengers going through it or being cut by it. So let's take the call. I get some other information about the car.
Hello, call you live on the air.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I think I have the answer to your question.
Okay,
sure.
The show was called Night Rider. It was a Pontiac Trans Am, and I think it was David Hasselhoff who was the star of the show. And it was a black Trans Am with, like he said, the lights in front.
That's absolutely correct. So what was the name of the vehicle? What was the nickname?
KITT.
Right, KITT. Excellent. Did you ever see the show or reruns?
Yeah, I saw it when I'm 62. I saw the show when it was on, for the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I used to watch it all the time. It's a great show.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. A lot of those shows were fun to watch.
Now, we'll see you.
And have a great evening.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Oh, excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was good.
Another good.
I knew the name of it. KITT, the name of it, but I didn't know the name of the movie. It was a Pontiac Trans Am, right?
Pontiac Trans Am, black. David Hasselhoff, like I said, a famous actor. He did a lot of shows and movies.
Yeah.
He was the actor, the main actor. And, it was about him and KITT always talking and interacting. And I believe, if I remember correctly, he was either a private detective or I forget what he was doing for a job, but what he did. But he was like the superhero. Well, not really a superhero as we think of superheroes now, but he was the one doing the good doer. So yeah, it was a very good show. And I thought, that if you ever see this, you can buy models of that vehicle, and some people take the actual model year 82 Trans Am.
Yeah.
That model year and make it look like a KITT. Like some people take their DeLoreans and turn them into the DeLorean in Back to the Future.
Yep.
So car culture is a very interesting genre or hobby.
Yes.
So I know I only have a couple of minutes, but I want to give me 2 minutes, Nathan.
Okay.
If we have it.
Yep.
So one of the other interesting things that the Tucker had designed in was what they call the crash chamber. So there was a padded open space under the dashboard where the front seat passengers could duck into before an impending collision. So not only was it extra space for them to be into like a chamber that was of safety, but it was padded. And what allowed that to happen was this was a rear engine vehicle, rear drive. So there's no hump in the middle of the floor. There was no engine in front. And they had all that extra space for someone to dive into. So if you think, you see an impending crash, there was no airbags back then. There was no safety belts weren't prevalent back then. So you could just dive into this safe area in front of the seats, the front seats. It had a center headlight that would turn with the steering wheel or steering linkage. So when the tires turn left, the headlight in the center would turn left. It still had the left and right hand side headlights, but it had that third one that could move. And that, the thinking of having that obviously solved a problem that Preston Tucker thought was an issue, because when you're turning a corner, if your headlights are fixed in the fenders, you don't see where you're looking because you can't see. My Subaru that I have, it has those headlights that are adaptive and can turn. So he thought about this almost 50 years prior to manufacturers putting on vehicles.
Interesting stuff.
So how much time do I have left?
We have about 30, less than a minute.
Integrated roll bar. It had a perimeter frame that surrounded the entire chassis to absorb side impact forces. The steering box placement was behind the front axle, so that if there was a crash, the front axle would absorb the impact before the steering box would, and transfer that momentum and force into the steering column and impact someone's chest, or the driver's chest.
Well, I think we have to wrap it up.
Okay, great.
I'm going to play our outro soon. Well, that's it for the Nathan Markley Show this Friday evening. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you being here. If you miss any part of the show or want to listen back, catch the replay on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Thanks for spending part of your evening with me, everyone. I will talk to you all next week. Have a great night, Rhode Island.
And thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Talk to you next week.
Another Friday in the books, laugh lines running through the show. You've been riding every turn through the highs and the lows. We're closing out the Nathan Markley Show. Thank you for the time you chose. Same place, same dial, See you next week on WNRI. Show on WNRI. It's the Nathan Markley Show.